Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Hey everybody, I'm so far over. What is happening here? Good morning. Welcome to Make Your Day Richer. I'm your host, Richard Wilmore, and we're in the studio today with Abigail Horton. Hi, Abigail.
Hi, how are you?
I am good, although I think I'm about to get punished by you. Yes. Okay, Abby, tell everybody what you do, and then that'll explain why you're here.
Okay, so I am a social media specialist. Right now, I'm a marketing manager, so I do things kind of across the board, but I focus specifically on social media.
And how long have you been doing? How long have you loved social media? And then also, because you do it so often, do you still love it?
Great question. So I started loving social media in high school. You know, Facebook was maybe a generation before me when it came out. It was only for college kids, and I was maybe in middle school, but I had an older sister, you know. So I was like, wow, this is so cool. And then Instagram became popular my senior year of high school, and that's where I felt like I just thrived. So I was like,
It's when you became a person. Yeah.
I love taking pictures too. So that kind of, I think, was part of behind it is like, now I can share. So loved Instagram and then just continued to love it. And then I went to Clemson and I graduated with my degree in communication. And you had to pick an emphasis. And I was like, what do
Instagram.
what do I want emphasis to be? It was, social media,
Yeah.
like brand marketing and stuff. So I did not get a job right away in social media. I feel like, which is crazy because that was only 6 years ago, but I feel like it wasn't as popular for businesses as it is now. So people didn't think it was a necessity.
Yeah.
So, I didn't start out immediately in it, but then there became a need for it and I got a job doing it and I loved it and I still love it.
Okay, good. I remember like when my show first started, my first show in 2016, like your Facebook page, they didn't have business pages.
Right.
You made a person and then you had to friend the business page. So it's grown a lot. How and are you keeping up? I feel like every day there's like, oh, join this social media thing. There's this for writers and this for this. And I just want to go back to MySpace. It's really, why can't we do that?
It was so creative. We could just code it ourselves.
Did you see that there's a new platform like MySpace?
No,
I forgot what it's called. I'll get it for you.
Okay.
But apparently it's like becoming popular with people because it's not Facebook. How do you feel about Facebook and everyone's like love-hate relationship with it?
It's so interesting because from like a personal point of view, like just a personal Facebook page, like I do feel like I hate it because it's like you have to keep up with people or you have to post this. Like there's just a lot of stress, there's social anxiety. People, have FOMO if they see someone else doing something. Like, it kind of came out of just keeping up with each other and then people just posting their point of views on this or comments, or it just sometimes can get out of hand. But like from a business point of view, it's just so beneficial. And the fact that it's free is crazy to use for someone with a business. It's just, they make you have a personal page to have a business page to connect it. Like a lot of people think I'm just going to make a Facebook business page, but I'm not on Facebook. I'm like, that's the thing. Like you have to make a Facebook page to even have a business account. So it's kind of interesting from Meta and how they do it of like making people be a consumer, even if they're not wanting to be, just because they can thrive in the business aspect of it.
Yeah, it's smart from a business, from a meta business standpoint. It's just kind of hard as the person who just like wants to go and promote their business. And that's like where you are a genius. I'm just going to throw that out there. Can you talk a little bit about like small businesses? I think it's so hard to market yourself because there's 14,000 platforms you think you need to be on, and you end up spending days making content for all of that. And then you forgot that you had a business you were supposed to run because you're running your social media. So and then your business struggles because you're trying to get customers.
Right.
So what are some like tips or ideas that you can give people that they can start doing today or that would help them?
So one is understanding your target audience. So you hear people talk about TikTok a lot and they're like, oh, TikTok. But if you are not trying to get business from, 20-year-olds, you probably don't need to spend any of your time on TikTok. You can be on it and keep up with things yourself for trends and stuff like that. But as far as creating the content part, that's not really as important. And then the same with Instagram. If millennials are like your target audience, you need to be on Instagram. And that's where, you'll want to be posting your stories, saving your highlights, stuff like that. But generally, you're going to want to be on Facebook no matter what. And I know that sounds crazy because some people are not pro Facebook, but when you're searching something in your Google bar, a lot of times people, if they don't have a website, their Facebook page is going to come up. So even if you're not putting the most on there, you still want to be on there and having the basics that people can get business information, kind of like a free web page, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yes, because Facebook has such a monopoly on the internet that as long as you have a presence on there, you're going to get found.
Yeah.
That's so smart. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
What about LinkedIn?
So LinkedIn is important for yourself.
Okay.
So for your business, it is if you're like a corporation or something, because people are looking to work for you or looking to see what you do. As a small business, you're going to do better on Facebook because it's just people who are really personable. They're already with friends on Facebook, versus LinkedIn is only business oriented of like, this is my professional self. This is people in the workplace. This is what I'm volunteering doing. Like it is important, but again, it's knowing like what your audience is and what you're promoting. If you're promoting a lawn care service, you don't need to be on LinkedIn. If you are creating your own HR consultant business, you're going to want to be on LinkedIn.
Who's exhausted? Anybody? No. It's because it's so much.
I didn't say podcast. I said looking for you. I didn't say be the podcast. Be on LinkedIn. You're like, you gotta get to
That's
work.
true. That is true. And then there's stuff like Twitter or X or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like that feels like people are still on there. And then there's the Threads, the X version from Instagram. So it's your recommendation to figure out one, what I go to well, what do I have fun doing?
Right.
Because then it's less work.
Very true.
And then also, like you said, well, where are your people? And that's tough if you're maybe not that demographic, but I suppose if your business is, then you are in that anyway.
Yes.
So that was a dumb question.
No, there's no dumb questions in social media, I can assure you.
What are some other tips that you can throw out there?
Okay, so just for general social media?
Yeah, and then we're gonna throw me under the bus and we're gonna look at my stuff and you're gonna tell me what I'm doing wrong.
So it would definitely be if you don't know your audience, you don't know who's looking at your content, you know who you want to, but you're kind of not sure how to look at that. You can, if you have a business page, go into something called Meta Business Suite. It looks like a headache when you're looking at it, but it's your insights. And even, if you're on Instagram or even LinkedIn, all these platforms now have an insights tool for you to use if you're a business. And so what you'll want to look at is your content and how it's doing. So when you're in your insights, you're looking at content, you're going to want to see, is it mostly women? Is it mostly men? What age? And you can even see the location, which that part's very important for me because I do work for the Chamber of Commerce. And so we cover the whole county, which is huge. So sometimes when I'm going in there, I'll see my last post was most viewed by people in Rock Hill, which is great. I want them to know Lancaster County's rocking. But then, it might be the fourth down that people from Kershaw are singing it. And I'm like, oh no, not my Kershaw babies. I need them to know, hey, what are you wanting to see?
Yeah.
I don't want to be neglecting you. So it really is just kind of understanding, not the whole platform, because it really is a headache, but just your insights, going and looking to see who's looking at it and then seeing, okay, what can I change to include more people, not just these specific people, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So some of it's trial and error, right? You have an idea for something, throw it out there and see what happens. And then if it's great, do more of that. And if it didn't do so great, pretend it never happened.
Yes. Right.
I do that almost every day. Pretend it never happened. Okay. Let's dive into, you looked at my Instagram.
I did.
And she's laughing, so that can be a good sign. So I'm going to attempt to put it up here. And then we're going to look at it. And I'm going to attempt to make it the full screen. And then you're going to talk to me about my Instagram.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask you a question at first. do you love producing content on social media or do you not? And in part what that is, most businesses, they have their skill of what they do, but it probably doesn't include social media. So if you really loved podcasting, interviewing people, I don't always know, does that mean that you love content? And so it's kind of understanding that first before I give you your tips, like, do you love it or do you hate it? In between.
I'm in between, but lean more toward the I don't love it. Like I would say that. I love editing the stuff. I love, but it becomes overwhelming because maybe I'm in that, like, I don't know where to put everything. So I put everything everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I know, yes, and I know that's not good, but I still do it.
Yeah.
Also, because the show is new, so I don't know where the audience is.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure that out.
Yes. And that's okay. Is definitely when you're starting out doing the trial and error, seeing what works best. Even recently, I was listening to something about Uncommon James, which is owned by Kristen Cavallari. She was on Laguna Beach, and they were talking about how they started off. So I went years back to like the first post of Uncommon James, like a very popular business, and it was just like, what is this? But they didn't go archive it, they didn't delete it. It was still there, and it really shows that brands have to start somewhere, and no one besides me is scrolling back 6 years. So even like building up at the beginning, what are you doing right? Like, it's going to get buried. It's fine. So like once you're going forward, that's what you want to focus on.
Okay.
So let's take a look. I'm going to look at my phone while we're going through this. Because I did write down notes.
Okay.
You're also not easily offended, right?
No.
I'm not going to say anything bad. I promise. Okay.
And you were on the Make Your Day Richer Instagram?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking, people. We're looking on Make Your Day Richer Instagram. So here is something that you're doing well and then how to improve it. So you are active. That's my number one tip. It's like,
you post. Good job.
Yeah, but that's a big thing because there are people who will make their page out there and then they don't post for 2 years, but then someone's looking up their business and they're like, are they still in business?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, they haven't posted in 2 years, but really it's just like they don't have time for the social media part. But it's like, I mean, if you can't do anything at least once a month, and that's stretching it.
Yeah.
But so for you, you're active. That is great. You want to be active. So a tip for being active is if you're going to do it multiple times a day, I wouldn't say more than 2 to 3 times a day.
Okay.
If you're posting more than 2 to 3 times a day, you're just getting buried in the algorithm, and then it's not as meaningful content than if you just did one post. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you probably would rather see how like 200 people see one post than 5 people see both posts because you were posting so much they just buried your stuff. Like, you're an overposter.
Yeah.
So
like find like I suddenly got into like making these little reel clips.
Yes.
So like find one really good one from every episode and put that up there every day.
Yes, that would be great. And if you don't want to do just one, if you want to do 2 parts of something, it's fine. I just say like no more than 3. Okay. I've seen businesses out there who really will post like 9 different posts in a day. And I'm like, whoa. Like, then you're just flooding, 1, your feed. When people go to see it, they can't see the stuff. Yeah. And 2, you're going to get buried. So you're doing great at being active. I would just say schedule out around 2 to 3 posts a day. Okay. And you can schedule them. I don't know if with how you do podcasts.
I schedule them.
Yes. That's my pro tip for people is schedule your posts because 1, you can then get it at a better time of day where it's going to have more engagement than if you just do it immediately. And 2, it saves you time. Maybe you just can't sleep at night and you want to make some content. We don't want to post it like 11 p.m. Yeah. But you can schedule the next day for like 11 a.m. It's going to do great. Okay. So 2 to 3 times a day and scheduling it out helps save a lot of time. And I do say post at lunch and dinner times. Those are like prime times for people if you're a business person. Okay. The second thing is going to be your pro that you're doing great is that you have a theme. Your theme is very bright and very fun. Wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about how you chose your theme and in your head, like if you had to put it on paper, what would your theme be? And then we're going to talk about branding that into social media.
I always want people to feel really comfortable watching and being here and like it's a little party. Yeah. Like every day is a little party.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. It kind of makes me feel like 90s Nickelodeon, and I love that.
Oh, this is a complete ripoff of the Rosie O'Donnell show.
Okay. Yeah, but I love, a 90s baby.
Yeah.
I love the 90s, and it was a
I'm glad you picked up on that. Good.
it's a
Good.
feel good time.
Yeah.
Like you said, like
Yeah.
it's nostalgic, like you feel comfortable with it. So I'd say that has a lot to do with your theme in person in your videos and the way that you post.
Good.
So you're doing great by having some sort of theme out there. I would just say use consistent fonts and colors within that theme
Okay.
because you want people to recognize that it's you. So templates are great, and you don't have to do anything boring. I think sometimes people think you have to have a boring template with just is your logo in the right corner every time you post. No, it goes all the way into color. So you can pick, 5 different colors that you like when you're doing subtitles or fonts. And then the same thing with the font. Maybe do 3 different fonts that you like, or every time it's an in-person video, you use this font. And if it's like a virtual one, you use this font. So it kind of is tying into what can people associate with each thing and kind of forward think without you having to tell them.
And then every time you do something, you don't have to make something new.
Yes, which saves you time.
Yeah.
It's templating, but I think people think when you have a template, you have to just do the same template every time. I mean, I've struggled with that when I do a welcome new member post. I get tired of seeing them because they're so consistent, but I'm like, hey, if you're
you
new,
see it, but they don't see
yes,
it. Yeah.
Hey, if they're new and they're looking, they see that template, they're like, oh yeah, new member, let me say welcome real quick or something without even, they can associate that. So with you, it's like if you are using some sort of template or font, people are like, oh, that's a new guest. Oh, that's a new video. Or, oh, there's a live coming up. It just helps people put 2 and 2 together. And a good example real quick of that is restaurants and stuff. I've seen them post, they have great social media, but every time they post their specials of the week, they use a different Canva template. And I'm like, oh, if they would just use the same template every week for their specials, I know exactly what I'm looking for. One, if I'm searching on their feed, I know once I see that template, this is the specials. Or 2, if I'm scrolling, I see it posted, oh, new specials. Besides seeing one day it's pink with flowers and the next week it's tie-dye and then the next week it's nautical. And I'm looking at the template of it. It's just hard to think of what is this post about. Whereas if you're using the same color, same template, oh, I know exactly what this is.
Yeah. If Target had a new logo every time you went there, you wouldn't know that it was Target. Okay. Right. That makes complete sense.
Yeah, so you do,
oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say you do great with again, having a theme, but it would be just a couple things would be picking a few fonts and a few specific colors.
Okay. I think that you brought up templates, and I think people and Canva, which I think has blown up.
Yes.
Everybody uses it now, and I don't use it. I use something else similar.
Yeah.
But it's the same.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can now spot a Canva template from a mile away.
Yes.
Which is not saying, and it's a great resource, but when you're talking about templates, wait, let me get out of here. Are we done with this, or should I keep this up? I can put it back up, but that you don't have to, you can manipulate the templates within to make your own kind of unique template.
Yes, that point right there, exactly. Yeah. That is it, is that you can still use the template and then change the background from pink to your brand's color of blue. And then you can add your logo in the corner to it instead of the little flower that's already there where they were just using it as a filler. Yes, you can use the template and then make it your brand.
Yeah.
And if you're not good with Canva, that's okay. I taught a class on it one time too. You can really join Canva tips and tricks groups on Facebook.
Yeah.
You can get on TikTok. You can type
TikTok
in Canva.
has great tips for Canva.
Yes. So there's always a way to learn out there. But yeah, it is you can use a template on Canva, but yes, make it your own.
Yeah.
Make it recognizable.
Can I tell you, one of the things that I made a mistake of doing was because I was so sick of Canva because I've been using it for so long that I found something similar through Vistaprint or whatever. It's called Crello. Same concept, same kind of stuff. And then so I paid for it because I was like, I'm going to be so different than everybody else. And it's not as good. I'm so sorry. But it's very limited. And I feel like Canva is one of those things where they're always updating. They're always doing some innovative stuff. So but you also it's that learning curve for everything. And especially something like that, because it does so much, but you can make some really cool stuff in there.
Yeah, and you can make it as simple as you want. I think that's part of it. If you're someone who's not into technology or creating things or Canva, you look at it and you think oh my gosh, I can never do that. But you never take the time to kind of just look at it. So it's like
Mhm.
everyone started somewhere with Canva. Like I wasn't born knowing Canva.
Yeah.
Like I had to learn too.
You didn't invent
I
Canva?
did
Oh,
not. What a
here I
fool.
thought I had the inventor of Canva on here. Cancel. Go to commercial.
Yeah, no, sorry. That'd be great. But we all have to learn.
Yeah.
So it's okay if you don't know it. It's just, hey, just jump into the space and just play around. If you get frustrated, ask for help,
Yeah.
look on YouTube. It's okay. But it is just starting to be familiar with it because things do change, but there's too many resources in there for you to not use it all.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Anything else wrong with my oops,
Well,
there. With my Instagram.
I just wrote one last thing
Mhm.
down, and then I also am going to give some good examples for everyone watching to look at for accounts.
Which will not be mine, apparently.
I'm gonna just let me edit.
It's
this real
okay. It's
quick.
okay.
So the last thing I have is that what you do well is that you do post videos. Videos always do great. They have better engagement, and then if you ever get really into social media, you can use the people who view it to target with ads. So it's great even when you go down to the depths of social media, but just generally it's great. You do kind of sometimes want to have subtitles because people are watching their phones places
Sometimes
like
I forget to do captions.
it's okay.
But I
It's a
try.
lot.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot to add something
Yeah.
to it, but it is super helpful. People can read it instead of saying it. So I would say when you're doing videos, also add in some about yourself because people love like authenticity. That was a word of 2020. What year are we in? Four. That was the year 2023. And so it's like while you do want it to look the same way, like you can even have just specific like every Monday this week on, and you just kind of say things that you're doing, who you're excited to talk about, something that just shows people you because it is great that you get to interview us and I love it, but like tell me about your, like what about you? And just so something that like shows yourself a little bit more, you can add that in there, and I think that will do really well as well. So here's the good social media accounts to look at. One for brand is going to be Lemmy, which is by Kourtney Kardashian. I'm a Kardashian fan. If you hate them, I'm sorry. Still look at the social media.
They can come on the show and talk about it. They want. Yeah.
Yes,
you can come sit in the audience.
Please let me. Lemmy's a great one for brand purposes because they make things that are cool and creative, but they're always brand consistent. Always. So like they make sure the labels are shown well, they're using the same colors, it's fun, but they also add in some just good videos in there. I mean, sometimes they have like paid actors and stuff who advertise it, but they have just a great mixture of things to feel like you connect with Kourtney who made it, but then also like I want to use this product, it's great. So that's a great one for brand purposes to look at. And then here are two for podcast specific, which is why I brought them up. But if you're anyone, you also can use these. You can also use these as a great example. One is the toast. The person who started the toast, she started out as a meme account when Instagram came out. So she really was an Instagram like from the beginning and then did a podcast. So she's like gone through the works of it. But the toast is great. And then another one is the Bobby Bones show. So
he follows me on, I think, Instagram, Bobby Bones. I love him. I have his book. I love him. Yeah, he's really good.
I love Bobby Bones so much. It's probably like unhealthy, but I'm like, how did I become him? And it sounds crazy, but like he gets to be himself, but also be great at what he does work wise. It's like, it looks like it's a work-life balance, but sometimes I think he's paid a little more to be that he is his brand. But the show is a great one to look at because they post clips from the show, but they do use like for the captions and stuff the same fonts. They have different colors each day and stuff like that, so it's still fun and engaging. And they do some behind the scene clips. So the Bobby Bones show Instagram account is a really good one to look at just from a podcast point of view of like how do I post clips, but also stuff about the studio and about me and things like that. So that's my third one.
Okay. I have two questions, and then I know you have to go because part of her job, she has to go to a ribbon cutting because
there's a lot of ribbon
she's busy today. And you're so nice to stop by in the middle of everything. My question is hashtags. That's just the question. Hashtags. Question mark. Yeah.
Hashtags. Question mark. I am not a lover of hashtags. I don't feel like they're relevant anymore.
Okay.
I was asked this at a conference recently, and someone else who does social media spoke up and was like, no, hashtags are still relevant. And I was like, are they? I guess it depends on the person. I say no because when you are searching in your explore page, it's by keywords now, by like what's in your post versus the hashtag. Like you have a for you page. That's what FYP means. If you ever see hashtag FYP, it's for you page, which is like your explore page where you're fed stuff. But you're fed stuff that's in the caption or like that's in their video. So a hashtag doesn't make a difference if you just type it the words out.
The words there.
Yes.
Okay.
Now sometimes like personally, just like being funny, like I might do like a hashtag something funny. I just want to add to it. But like if you think that it's gonna like help people find you more by using a hashtag, no, you can really just type in, Coachella, and Coachella posts are gonna come up. You don't have to look for hashtag Coachella to find Coachella posts.
Okay, that's good. And then my last question is profile pictures.
Oh, for business or for personal?
Business.
Okay, I was like personal. Business. So definitely your logo.
Okay.
I had recently worked with a client and they wanted, I don't want to say what it was, but there was a group, like a whole team that was involved in it. And they like, can you make this my profile picture? But I'm like, if I make a team of 6 people your profile picture, people are not recognizing that immediately.
Yeah.
If you have your logo very clear where people can see it, when they're scrolling, they know that's you, even though you think you want it to be a little bit more. When they go into your page, your cover photo can be your more authentic self, your team, your services. Like even for you, it could just be like you and your favorite guest. So I can't wait to be on there.
I mean, we'll take screenshots of this.
Okay. That would be something like, it gives people an idea of what you do, your services or who you are.
Okay.
But profile picture, just logo is going to help. And I mean, even for years, I mean, if you update your logo, you'll want to change it. But yeah, you want your logo to stand out. So when people are scrolling, they see it. Even if it's small or something, people are going to have that brand awareness, and that's really important.
Okay. I kept you way longer than I told you were going to be here.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
I can talk for days.
I know.
It's my fault.
Come back and go through my Facebook.
Yeah.
How can people connect with you and get your help?
Okay, so I say my Instagram because Instagram's favorite, and it's Abby Horton ×2. I'm just my real self on there. So sometimes I do repost like marketing tips and things. Usually it's just my life and I have a lot going on. So it's very interesting. But yeah, reach out to me on there. I am on LinkedIn too. If you want to ask very professional wise, I am on LinkedIn. But Instagram's Abby Horton ×2. And I am going to tell another quick story.
Yeah, sure.
It's that even though I'm a social media specialist, I lost my Instagram. Yeah,
they kicked you off?
Yeah, they just were like, "Bye, girl." Like,
now the real stuff's coming out.
I broke a rule on accident, and it's crazy that you can work in a space so much and like still just be gone. And it was my Instagram I had since again I was in high school. I had built up. I travel a lot, so I had built up all my travel highlights from like the States. Oh my gosh, like I cried. I'm like, please help. I mean, I was on LinkedIn looking at people who worked for Instagram, like writing them letters, mailing them, like, please get my account back. But I mean, I did everything I can. They're like, you broke this rule. Like we not just like deactivated, like dissolved your account. And so like, I'm still fighting on the back end out there. Every once in a while, I'd like try to log in or say forgot password and see if I can get back in. But I had to start completely from scratch, like lost everything of who I was, and like not who I am as like a person. It's my scrapbook, for how much I travel and what I do and people connect with me. And so that's what the Abby Horton ×2 comes from. But also another tip is when you're on Instagram and things like that, this is more for influencers. I'm not an influencer. This is just saying that is having a unique Instagram name also gets people's attention. So if you look at people, like they'll say the real this, which is because they want people to know they're verified, but also like, okay, it's something different besides just someone's name. Or like a lot of podcast people, they'll have some sort of like weird name they picked, like Fibula. I don't know if you know who that is, but he just has like a normal name. And he was like, for my Instagram, I had to pick something so weird that people knew who I was. Now they call me the Fib. And he's like, that's what I'm known as. And then he's like, it really was just something so random when that's not, who I am. So I kind of excited to have the Abby Horton ×2 because I'm like, there is a story to it. It's something fun. Like, oh, ×2, is there 2 of you? No, it's just my second Instagram account.
You've been cloned.
Yeah. They're like, this girl's more boring.
Yeah.
Sorry, just tired.
You like the other one better.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of my story with that. But Instagram is where people can find me.
All right. Abigail Horton, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I hope it wasn't awful.
No,
And,
didn't say that.
we'll be right back after this.
In this world of innovation, would you rather have an old, outdated flip phone or a brand new iPhone? A horse and buggy carriage or the newest luxury hybrid? A dial-up router with your AOL account or a super fast Wi-Fi hotspot? With nutrition, what you have been using or taking up until now hasn't been bad. There's just something newer. We all appreciate advancements in science and technology. In the same way we seek the best and newest in our electronics, vehicles, and everyday conveniences, wouldn't you also want the best technology and newest innovation for your nutrition and supplementation? At the time, you may have had the best from what was out there and available. Now, there is something better and newer, more bioavailable, more convenient, better tasting, faster acting. It literally is the equivalent to getting an IV full of high-tech nutrients right into your bloodstream, without the needle, without the appointment, without being attached to anything for a specific length of time. Simply pop these tasty, all-natural lozenges into your mouth and savor as they instantly start to absorb into your bloodstream through your mucous membranes. That's it. And with the added benefit of negative ions, in other words, energy, there isn't anything else out there on the market like it. Now is the time to switch to the next improvement and innovation in health and nutrition. It's time for advancement. It's time for better. It's time for APL Go and our Rapid Botanical DNA Drops.
We're back. I hope you all learned a little something today. She's so fun. She'll come back and we'll just go through all of my social media and she'll tell me everything I'm doing wrong, which is fine because I'm doing a lot wrong because it's a lot of work. So I hope that helped you out there. Hey, thanks to all of our sponsors. This show wouldn't be a show without you. You'll see all of their names at the end of the show in the credits. And if you'd like to sponsor the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/makeyourdayricher. That'll also be in the show notes and in the comments and help support the show so we can do good things out there in the world. Also, if you want to be a guest on the show, reach out. If you're doing something great, if you're helping people, if you've got a great business that's out there doing good things, if you know someone who's doing good stuff, let me know and I'd love to talk to them. Our Rosie memorabilia today is the Rosie Show mug right there. Rosie Show mug. She had a show in Chicago for, I don't know, a few months on the Oprah Network. I don't want to say she's the one that made the Oprah Network popular because it wasn't very popular until she got there and then people were talking about it, but she did have a show and I got to go on the show to the show tapings multiple times and it was very fun. And some of the clips are out on YouTube and you should watch them. It was a great show and she gave us all a mug one day. All right, that's our show today, everyone. We will see you tomorrow with another all-new live show. Go out there and do good things. I love you, and I'll see you later. Bye.